Hey everyone, Sirturmund here again. And if you have not been living under a rock for the past like 4 days, then you should already know about the new deck that's all the wave these days, and it's monkeys now. So this is what we're gonna showcase to you all today. It's gonna be a monkey deck, and the third version that I'm gonna show off is gonna be the Bandle City version. There's a lot of different versions out there. Preferably, I like the Bandle City version and I like the Failure version. I also seen a bunch of other ones that have been playing in tournaments, people that are bringing like triple monkey lineups, which is crazy to me. But I prefer this one and I prefer the Failure version. So that would be my recommendation if you're looking for a monkey deck to play. Now, this version I think is probably the strongest one out of all of them, and it's the one that people started popularizing the most. So this one is playing Bandle City and Bilgewater. Now, for the most part, it's just really Bilgewater, right? We're talking 35 cards that are Bilgewater and only 5 cards that are non-Bilgewater. We have 2 PNC here because of Teemo. So in this version of the deck, we play 2 champions. We play 2 of Teemo and we play triple Twisted Fate. The 2 Teemos are just there as a really good one-drop that can just push a lot of damage early on, start triggering some stuff, doing some Nexus damage. It gets the shrooms up there, which can enable some of the plunder triggers from happening right later in the game. And then Twisted Fate is just there for the utility. Twisted Fate just gives us red card, gold card, blue card, any which can be really useful. As you'll see in some of the games today, how clutch TF can come into play. That's one of the reasons why both of these champions are in this deck, and they're really good. The core package of this deck is monkeys. So the idea is that you're finishing the game through burn, right? Through burn and through attacking. Powder Pandemonium is a 4-mana card that summons a powder monkey for each time that you have triggered plunder in this game. And ideally, if you're at a stage where you can summon 5 or 6 monkeys, remember, each of the monkeys are also dealing 1 to the Nexus. So all of a sudden, a single Pandemonium means that you're dealing 5 or 6 damage to the enemy Nexus once all the monkeys die. On top of that, these guys are giving vulnerable to all the opponent's blockers, and you're going with a full wide board. So very likely that at least 2 of your monkeys are also going to get damaged too. And you're talking about at least like 10 damage or more just from a single card. And this is a 4-mana card. It's literally better than Decimate. And that's the core of this deck. The core of this deck is that you're able to finish with a big Powder Pandemonium and just burn them down. At the core, this deck is just straight up kind of like a burn aggro deck. With that said, the rest of the cards are kind of help to either get some plunder triggers or just get us there to push a lot of damage. So triple warning shot is the easiest way to be able to trigger plunder since it costs 0, and a lot of times you can go warning shot into Jagged Butcher in turn 1, right? So that's why we also play Jagged Butcher. So warning shot into Jagged Butcher in turn 1, and all of a sudden you have a 3/3 in turn 1 that opponent's gonna be a hard time dealing with. And this can already push like 4 damage if the opponent doesn't have a blocker right away in turn 1. And it also advances your Pandemonium. You have 1 Parley here and 1 Pusher. Pusher just there for a little bit extra draw. It is possible that you kind of run out of resources very quickly with this deck, so that's what Pusher does in here. Parley's just there kind of like an alternate way for a warning shot. We talked about Teemo. With this deck, we are kind of playing the whole Black Market American package, and the reason for that is because he counts as a plunder. So again, we need the Pandemonium to get as many plunders as possible so you can actually summon 4, 5, or 6 of them at a time. That's when this card becomes really crazy. So that's what the Black Market American do, and sometimes he gets us some nice answers from the opponent's deck. Taskmaster buffs our monkeys up, buffs a lot of our one-drops like the Jagged Butcher and also the Teemo, which is elusive. So if you can buff the Teemo, it can be actually pretty crazy. And he also counts as plunder. Great. Triple Make It Rain removes a lot of things in the current meta and also works to trigger our plunder. Monkey business. Just gets us more plunder, gets us more monkey, just a lot of burn, right? Right away, this is going to be like 2 burn to the enemy Nexus, and also units that the opponent have to block, otherwise they start taking too much damage. Triple Pokey is the other reason why we're in Bandle. We talked about Teemo. The other card is Pokey Stick. It lets us hit the Nexus so that we can actually trigger our plunder effects, while also giving us drop, because we slightly talked about how you can run out of resources. Triple Swindle is just there as a cheap way to trigger plunder, and it lets you kind of see what the opponent has in their hand and be able to play around cards correctly. Pandemonium, key card of this deck, is what carries the deck. Just summons all the monkey, just burns the game down. Triple Yodo Grifter, we are playing almost all Bilgewater cards, and it can synergize with the Black Market American. It can synergize with Twisted Fate, letting us potentially level up Twisted Fate, and it gives us access to warning shots, which is more burn to the opponents and more ways for us to trigger plunder. And then lastly, we do 2 cards from the live package. 1 Anakaburus for some nice draw, and 2 Riptide Sermons. We actually do 2 to the enemy Nexus. This is actually a burn card. It kills a unit, it summons another unit for you, and it damages the enemy nexus. Literally everything that this deck can want and more. All of a sudden, this package ends up being really, really good. And honestly, the other regions, like I talked about earlier, all you're doing is like you're cutting Pokey Stick, you're cutting Teemo, and maybe you're adding like Blighted Ravines and like Tusk Speaker, for example. So it's pretty much the same package, the same core package from Bilgewater, just kind of adding some tech cards here and there from every other region. I've seen that Target version play Zoe, for example. Any of these pushes is good, because as we're finding out, the Powder Monkey and the Pandemonium package is just so good. Really fun deck, really nice breath of fresh air. So I hope that you enjoy the games coming up soon. And as always, if you like the video and you like the content, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to us. We post LoR videos every single day. I'll see you all at the end of the video for some mulligan tips. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Shen Bard, and this is an impossible matchup for us. As long as the opponent keeps Spirit Refuge in their hand, there's like absolutely almost no way that we actually win this. Now, Swindle is interesting because I could steal his Spirit's Refuge and then stop him from being able to heal from us. That could be a way that we do it. Otherwise, I don't really see how we win this. Especially if the opponent has the Caretaker plus Spirit's Refuge, then it's gonna be almost doomed. So I guess we're gonna just play it slow here. We have to try to steal his own barriers to use against him. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, the Telstone is really good. And we get a Shine. The Telstone is really good because we can counter the things that he's gonna have, right? We counter the barrier either by recalling or just simply like you lose instant united. Either way, it's really good. Yeah, this is the Spirit's Refuge that we talked about. So there's the Spirit's Refuge that we talked about. The opponent has his own Ionian Tailstones, and they also have Key Guardian, meaning that it can always protect this guy. So I think we're gonna take Spirits, Tailstones, Key Guardian. We're gonna take the Spirit's Refuge. Or is it just the Tailstones? I don't hate the Tailstones. It gets punished by deny though. It gets really punished by deny. So let's go for the Refuge. That way he cannot stop it, right? He cannot stop that. We know he has Key Guardian like we talked about. So he will be able to kind of save his student. Yeah, there you go. But he cannot save this girl, right? He cannot save this girl because he just stepped out of deny mana. So we get to kill her, and she's the best target for the Spirit's Refuge. So now he loses his best target for Spirit's Refuge. While we still have Teemo available. I don't even care about blocking here. I think I'm just going to slowly kill him, right? With the Teemos. So we can go a second Teemo here. Teemo's going to level up now. Opponent still doesn't do anything. We can do the monkey business to have a blocker while also doing the second Black Market Merkin, which could potentially go into something bigger here. So opponent gets his elusive a little bit too late. We get a Birdlinger, so we get another blocker. Ironically, I don't want the Birdlinger just yet because I have a little bit too much value. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm okay with that Amplify. Let's go ahead and do the Birdlinger then. That gives me a blocker. Again, we know that the opponent has Key Guardian. And we know that they have their own Tailstones. But we have our own Spirit's Refuge. So we just need to play around their Spirit's Refuge and slowly kill them. Key Guardian. They're trying to level up Shen, I guess. Yeah, so this will level up Shen. Opponent doesn't have enough to do both Spirit's Refuge plus... Okay, it's just going to be Bard. It's just going to be Bard? It's just Bard. Sure. Yeah, you don't want to cry. Ghost is kind of funny, actually. We did take a Shroom from him, though. Opponent can do a couple things here, right? He can buff this up, and we can't kill it with the Teemo. The Ghost means that if he doesn't do something else, we can technically... Okay, so he's gonna... We're gonna leave the Teemo alive. So since the opponent decided to go this way... We're actually gonna go here and just punish the Shadow Assassin. Now the opponent doesn't have a blocker for the Teemo, who's gonna double the shrooms and deal 2 damage. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunate, my friend. Unfortunate. We know he just uses Key Guardian, right? So this is gonna push 2 and duplicate the Puffcast to 24. Need to be careful. Still need to be careful about that that Key Guardian. I mean that Spear's Refuge. So that's the only thing now that we have to play around for the most part. Gets to draw shrooms. Great, great. Gets to level up the bar. We're gonna do our monkey business right here. And I think at this point we're just burning him, right? So at this point we're just burning him. So we're gonna go here. Because this is gonna deal 2 damage. That elusive is huge though, but we have blockers for everything. I also kind of like doing the Riptide Sermon on the Shen so that the opponent cannot buff it up anymore. So like right here, what is this gonna do? Oh, he's just gonna health bot. Alright, alright, alright. Alright, alright. That's fine. We're gonna go ahead and kill the Shen now. Opponent could have denied right here. But if they just use one thing, right? So I was assuming that that was their 3rd Thelston, or maybe they still have one more. Okay, no, they just had the Shen. They just had the 2nd Shen. So they just got the 2nd Shen. We have blockers for everything, like we talked about. That's why we took the Spear's Refuge all those times ago, so that we could just block his Spear's Refuge with our Spirit Refuge and not have to worry about it. Now we do need to block everything, so it is important for us to block absolutely everything, because if we don't block everything, opponent could do like a stand united to swap, or do something else that's a little bit weird to just swap. Again, we're playing around the Spear's Refuge at this point. He goes Spear's Refuge. We go on Spear's Refuge. And opponent gets to heal exactly 0 because of the barrier. And then we can stun the Shadow Assassin so that our Teemo can get damage through next turn. Yeah, opponent's getting punished by their own cards. Travelers. Bard's Traveler's Goal. I wanted to buff this girl. Yeah, because I want this card to still be the strongest card in his deck, right? Because we need to be able to stun her. At this point, I'd rather keep my mana because I want the space. I want the board space in case that we draw the Pandemonium. Yep, just like that, right? Oh, but now the stun is gonna hit the bar, so it's not gonna be as good as I thought. So it has to be Pandemonium now, and opponent needs to have exactly deny. So opponent needs to have exactly deny here. That gives you a follower. Doesn't give you the deny. He also continues to draw into our puffs caps. So this is 3 damage, plus we'll be able to pull the elusive away. So maybe he's looking for another elusive to go with the Teemo. Otherwise, I think we're in a decent spot because we're also pretty wide. Are we supposed to attack? He got the 2nd elusive. I'm very surprised that he's just going all in. So this is lethal. 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. But then if the opponent does the 2nd health pot, then that's a problem. So what I need to do, we know we have lethal, but I'm pretty sure that the opponent has the 3rd Tailstones. Because the one that he played before, I think I saw it coming from the left side. So if we say that the 3rd Tailstone is on the right side, he's gonna wanna use it, right? He's gonna want to use it as soon as possible. This is lethal because of the fact that one of these two is gonna hit. And once the opponent commits the last Spear's Refuge, then we can commit the Tailstone. Not only that, but we can actually swap and put Teemo here if we wanted to. But this is already lethal. So he might be thinking either Spear's Refuge or Iron and Tailstones. Which one he thinks he might be better here. We could have also gone for the Twisted Fate stun. That would have gotten rid of the elusive and letting our Teemo go through. Yep. So now we go here. And we can do the Stand United, right? That will allow our Teemo to go through. It gives the other unit barrier. Teemo gets to duplicate the shrooms. And we get to deny the whole heal. With 1 mana, there shouldn't be anything that the opponent does. And that's game. We ended up with 88 puff caps. That's pretty good. The opponent helped us out by drawing as many cards as they did, right? They used Bar spell twice. They used the Shadow Assassin. And we just correctly played around those 2 Spears Refuge. And there we go. GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Katarina Yasuo. Honestly, the downside here is that the opponent has started to deny. So deny makes it a little bit awkward to use our Pandemonium. This hand is really good though. Maybe Swindle is the only awkward one. Maybe we want to find things to trigger both the Merkin and the Taskmaster. Parley's not bad, but Parley's not great until we have something, you know, to do with it. Twist of Fate. Not the cards that I'm looking for. Not the cards that I'm looking for. Let's do this. Let's do this, and we're going to do the Taskmaster first. So I'm going to do the Taskmaster first, so that we can open attack. And the opponent has to choose whether they want to kill, they want to block it, the Blade Twirler and lose it, or they want to commit a stun right here. Right? I have to put them in an awkward spot. Now, we're going to get, obviously, the warning shots later. So here he has a choice. He can block, or he can stun. And having him stun this early, I think is fine with us.
I dare you.
It's not a big deal, because now we're baited a stun out of the way. Not like the stuns in this matchup are going to do a lot for him, but that way we don't have to worry about that stunning. I'm okay blocking here. Sure. The only downside is that we're going to have to do the Grifter first before we do the Black Market Merkin. Or we can just miss. Wow. So that's what? That's Teemo then? Wow. So we don't even have a way to do the thing. Oh, Pokey Stick. Pokey Stick is also... Pokey Stick makes sense. I want to force him to block or keep committing stuns. You're either blocking or you're committing the stuns. Either way is okay with me. Because we already took 1 stun out of it. Oh, doesn't block this time. He's gonna just go for the... Okay, so he's just looking to go for Mr. Yasuo. Calling Strike doesn't hit the Yasuo. Does hit the Katarina though. Which is not bad. We can Swindle here. We can Swindle here. Memory's Cloak. Spell Slinger. I don't hate this. I don't hate the Memory's Cloak, to be honest. Yeah, I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it whatsoever. I wonder if I go here. This Blade Twirl is actually kind of scary. Because the Memory Cloak doesn't actually stop the Twisted Fate gold card, by the way. Because it's not... The gold card doesn't target. The gold card just goes, right? It just stuns the stronger enemy, so it doesn't target. So I feel like I need to have the gold card available. I need to have the gold card available to be able to actually deal with this guy. So... Let's go here, so that we can trigger the monkey business. For the guiltless. And just start getting valued this way. The problem is that now Yasuo can remove all our units, which can be a little bit scary. We don't want to summon this guy because I feel like I need the space at this point. I need the board space. So that we can actually do the Pandemonium. If the opponent kills our units, that's actually better for us. Because it gives us the space for the Pandemonium. We're still vulnerable to a deny. Man, I would have preferred a flock here, right? And I think opponent just realized that, right? Like, they don't have to rush anything. They don't have to rush anything. I'm gonna go card right now. I'm gonna go card right now, knowing that we can kill this guy. And we can attack with everything else and slowly play it. We don't need to Pandemonium right now. Let the opponent get value from his Yasuo. Whatever they want to do. We can Calling Strike anything else that the opponent summons, right? Okay, so this is good because he doesn't target all of them, right? He enables our Pandemonium though, so now opponent needs to have Deny, right? So he removed 2 of my units. They need to have Deny. Otherwise, they're in trouble. And we can summon the Blade Turret to have another blocker for next turn. So it needs to be the Deny, otherwise this is gonna be lethal. If it's not Deny, again, we can summon the Blade Turret to have a blocker. Because it is kind of scary, the fact that he's about to stun a Yodogrift and we're not going to have any blockers. We have a second Twisted Fate, and we have the Culling Strike to punish anything that he summons, like if he summons another Blade Twirler. But this is already 5.
The bite doesn't hurt, but the venom sure does.
Ah, that's good, that's good. 5? Yeah, this is good. This should be good. Oh wait, he has the Memory Cloak. He has the Memory Cloak, so he can save this as a blocker. But this is still pushing 9 plus 5, right? So if it's the Memory Cloak, he would have lost. So this should be game here, right? He shouldn't have enough ways to block this unless he has like a random... If the opponent has a random lifesteal, then that's why we pull this all the way last. If he has a random Spirit's Refuge. Could be double Yasuo. And that's still... Is that enough? Yes, that keeps him alive as 3. But he doesn't have the lethal, right? Or double Steel Tempest. I thought double Yasuo, but it's double Steel Tempest. Still doesn't have enough to kill us next turn, right? At most he can push 5, unless he also has double Twin. But we know one of the cards in his hand is Memory Cloak. So the double Twin shouldn't do it. Okay, so Memory Cloak and 4 cards. That's a good draw. That's a good draw. But he has no way to stop this, right? He has no way to stop this. He loses the Yasuo. Even if Katarina levels up, that's okay with me. And then we do the Pandemonium to win the game. We could have also just done the Pandemonium right now, actually, to be honest. It still stuns. As soon as I stun it, that's all that matters. I could have won any different way, right? Again, the Pandemonium also kind of wins the game right there. So it doesn't really matter. This is going to summon enough monkeys for us to win. And this is where the burn from the monkeys comes clutch. Like, you saw us do 5 damage last turn, and you're gonna see us do another 4 damage this turn, and that's game. Opponent's only at 3, doesn't have any way to heal with one mana. So that was a lot closer than I expected, though. A lot closer than I expected, because man, that first Blade Twirler ended up pushing so much damage to us. Like, I have to actually be considerate on my health after that first Blade Twirler. But I'm very glad that we went with a Pokey Stick into gold card play. Otherwise, the Blade Twirler would have just killed us. So GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Twisted Fate Annie, which should be one of our better matchups with this deck, I believe. Honestly, the Grifter is not bad. The Grifter is not a bad card. There's a lot of good hits that we can take from him. And there is a good curve. Teemo into Jagged. I'm gonna keep everything. I'm gonna keep everything. There is a good curve right here. And I like the Yodo Grifter a lot. Because we can remove a lot of the things that the opponent has, right? Now, opponent could do Make It Rain here. Or could do Blaze Edge to kill our Teemo before we hit it. Which will suck. But it's not gonna be like impossible for us, right? So let's see how this goes. So, yeah. Oh, and we got our win condition here. That's pretty good. So opponent should doesn't deny that. So now we have the Taskmaster and the Pandemonium and the Monkey Business already set up. This is good for us. This is very good for us. Maybe opponent was waiting for like a good value Make It Rain with the Taskmaster, and that's why they decided to take a while. Let's go here. Let's go here and just do the Monkey Business. Let's go like this and do the Monkey Business now, so that because opponent's gonna have to block, right? Opponent's gonna have to block this eventually. Especially if he's giving me this. If he's giving me this, the only downside here is that now the Make It Rain is a little bit more unfortunate, right? He could just Make It Rain and kill both our units. And if he has the Make It Rain to kill both of them, I have to be okay with that. Obviously, we open attack, because if it's not Make It Rain, it could be Twisted Fate. So I have to force him to have the Make It Rain here, if it's exactly that. Otherwise, he's taking 6 damage here. Oh, still taking the 2 and 3 technically, because the monkey, right? But he didn't want to block with the Annie. Didn't get the Blaze Edge for them, unfortunately. They still only has 2 out of 6. And then we have our Pandemonium that's going to be pretty much ready. We get a second Make It Rain, so we can technically kill the Annie with double Make It Rain. But then we have to have 4 things to actually make it work. I like this Make It Rain a lot. He cannot open attack because the Grifter, right? Alright, let's force it out of him. Let's force it out of him. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. It sucks that we do the Make It Rain now before getting the value. The only downside here is that a Twisted Fate still kills this, right? Twisted Fate still kills our whole hand. But at this point, we have 3 burn in our hand, and this is gonna summon 3 more. So that's gonna be 6. So that here comes Twisted Fate. Oh, wow. Okay, so he's gonna go for the kill on the Teemo instead. So no Twisted Fate, no Make It Rain, because we stole one of them. He's forced to do this. Or maybe he's just saving the Twisted Fate for when we have all the monkeys, which also kind of makes sense to me, right? But now we can just do this, and then have the Powder Monkey summon even more. I don't see how the opponent recovers from this, because they need to summon. Okay, so if we go for the full monkeys right now, you still get 4. That's gonna be enough. So we go here. If he just takes that damage, I'm okay with that, right? I have to play around Twisted Fate. I think I have to play around Twisted Fate, so I like that we did it like this. We have a blocker next turn anyways. Sure, let's go ahead and do the Make It Rain right now. Gets rid of a blocker and also deals 1. We know that we have another warning shot to trigger any other stuff that we get. At this point, I just want to see if we can potentially just win. Yes, exactly. If we can potentially win by just summoning the monkeys. Like, if we can just win by summoning the monkeys, that's probably the best thing that can happen to us. That's a really good one. This is going to be 7. Sure. It's going to be 6 now. That's opponent's down to 6. This is still only summoning 4, so I need something else. That's a good one. That's a really good draw. That's a really good draw. So now points at 4, and this is lethal. So that's the last piece of burn that we needed, right? So now we can open attack. We can open attack. Actually, the open attack doesn't make sense. The open attack doesn't make sense. I think it's always Pandemonium. Oh, but that's only 3. So I guess it has to be the open attack. Opponent has to block. Opponent has to deal with my unit somehow. Opponent has to deal with my unit somehow. Yeah, there we go. And then we do the Pandemonium, which is going to hit for 4. Opponent has no heal, and we win. So the reason that I was scared of the open attack is potentially like a Riptide, red, so opponent finding some way to like punish the open attack. But thinking about it, it probably always was the open attack anyways. Because opponent is forced to block, right? And this is 5 burn damage, and that's game. He actually summons even more because we actually hit the Nexus, so the actual Monkey Pandemonium itself counts as a plunder trigger. This is one of our best matchups, and you saw there that it literally just wins because of how much burn you can do to the opponent. Like, think about how much burn we did between the Make It Rains and the warning shots, and then finally the Pandemonium. So, GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going against Braum Udyr. And because the opponent is playing Shadow Isles, they're probably playing enough heals that this matchup is going to be very bad for us. So if you're running into a lot of monkeys and you're trying to be monkeys, just play a Shadow Isle decks. We cannot deal with heal. We cannot deal with heals. Now, with that said, Riptide Summon is not bad to killing Udyr when it comes down in turn 5. But I also feel kind of weird just leaving my hand like this, right? So I feel like I need some early stuff. It's so bad getting rid of Pandemonium though. I feel like it's one of my main win conditions. So maybe we just get rid of the Sermon and I'll get greater with it. We do play 2 of it. Okay, we ended up joining anyways. I feel like this is much more of a win condition than anything else. So I feel like I have to kind of keep this, right? You win so many games when you get a big Pandemonium on the field. Now, obviously, we get a second one. It's a little bit unfortunate. And the other downside is that we haven't hit any actual plunder stuff, right? So because we actually haven't done any plunder stuff, this is still pretty low value at the moment. Harley's not bad. I think I'm gonna just go Pokey Stick here and then do the monkey business. I wanted to wait until this turn to do monkey business so that we could get a monkey on our next attack turn. So yeah, we're gonna just go ahead and do it out this way. Opponent could have like whale, for example, or anything like that for next turn. Wow, okay. I'll take it. If you want to take it this slow, I can also take it this slow. Yeah, let's just go here. I think I want to go blue card. I think I want to go blue card instead of going the grifter. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead here and do this first. Yeah, I think I want to go blue card first and potentially threaten a TF level up. Not like it's actually ever gonna matter because opponent probably has benches and a ton of other stuff, but you know, a man can dream. A man can dream because he's gonna have to deal with Teemo eventually. And not only that, because we waited now, we can actually get some draw here. Okay, so opponent's just gonna go for the avalanche. So opponent's just gonna straight up go for the avalanche. In which case, should we Riptide Sermon? Should we Riptide Sermon to get rid of that Braum? It's kind of interesting, but I also feel like it might be a little bit greedy for us to do that. So I think I'm just gonna go Black Mark American and just take advantage of the grifter next turn. I know it means that the opponent can get more value here because they can go ahead and I'm glad I didn't go for the sermon then, right? Because if I go for the sermon, he goes do that anyways and still gets value. So we can just go here. Obviously, the only downside here is that we don't really have a lot of stuff, right? So we don't really have a lot of stuff that we can use. This is not bad though. Oh, nice. Okay, well, we can go ahead and do this then. Oh, another one. Another one. This actually helps us go even better. Problem here. My problem here is that, I mean, that Braum is a pretty good blocker, right? So for us to win, we will have to go pretty wide. So if that's the case, we do have to trigger this, I think. So let's go Wonder. Because let's go here first. And then we can do Wonder into Pandemonium. Or maybe we just go for the Taskmaster and call it a day. I feel like the opponent has Whale. So it makes me feel like that the opponent has Whale. And if they have the Whale, I don't know if I actually wanna play the Pandemonium yet. Opponent eventually needs to start either healing or doing something like that, right? Like this is second avalanche. I think I'm okay with that. Well, as okay as you can be, right? As okay as you can be. So let's go ahead and just do this. We do this one monkey for summoning one more unit, by the way. Or we can wait. Or we can wait it out. Like opponent is kind of making it seem like they have access to Whale. So what if we wait it out? What if we just go here instead? Make all of these cards even buffer. Okay, so they're gonna get the Udyr. We end up having a pretty bad attack now. If we attack into the Braum, I mean, our units are gonna start dying anyways, right? I think I'm gonna go ahead and just attack. Force the opponent to block with everything. I'm pretty sure the opponent is holding on to well. The fact that they kept the 5 mana. At this point, I just want to clear my own board so that I can have a bigger Pandemonium on the field later. When the opponent summons Udyr, we can do the Riptide Sermon, and the opponent's gonna have to have something else. The downside here is that we don't really have any other plunder stuff to trigger this. Wow, that's huge. That's huge. That is huge. I like this first, and then we're gonna go Jagged Taskmaster. If you want to, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because he's still not gonna level up, and it means that the opponent just had to use one of their cards this turn instead of later. Now he will be able to still kill this here and level up Braum. Actually, okay, I forgot about the level of Braum. But now we can go ahead and do a second Jagged Taskmaster. And now, I guess opponent has access to the stand swap, right? So because the opponent has access to the stand swap, we're never actually winning. Because he's always able to just heal up. I mean, kill our monkeys, right? So we will need to get a second Pandemonium for us to have a chance. So if we get a second Pandemonium, we're okay. If we don't get a second Pandemonium, we're not okay. So let's go ahead and do it anyways. Let's go ahead and do it anyways. This is stealing 5, right? So this is stealing 5. So all we need is to hit the warning shot and then one more thing, right? So this is already dealing 5 right here. Actually, no, we win. Yeah, so now because I forgot the Ram stand also hits him, right? So now we deal 5 because of the monkeys. We can do the Yodel Grifter. Opponent needs to have a heal. If they don't have a heal, they lose to the warning shot. And it has to be a burst speed, so it has to be exactly the 3 job. Ah, that was rough. That was rough. It had to be exactly the Tavern Keeper, right? Because anything else we can actually beat. So everything else we could actually beat. Ooh. I'm pretty sure opponent's playing like they have access to... So here we go down to 6. Sorry, we go down to 1, right? Which means that the opponent just wins. So we have to hope that we hit the Make a Ray on the Jerk. We don't hit it. So yeah, this is game because now the opponent gets access to the stand swap. And that means they win the game. That was close. That was close. I told you guys from the start, this matchup wasn't going to be good for us. The Udyr also becomes a really big issue. So maybe opponent gets greedy here. Okay, he didn't get greedy. I was going to say, maybe they get greedy and don't do the Ram stance and wait until our next turn. Ooh, it would have been lethal if we have one more space for one more monkey, right? So maybe the play should have been to attack with the Jagged first. Because that way opponent will have just blocked, right? Because they want to take that damage. The Jagged Taskmaster dies, and then we play the 7 monkeys, and that's lethal. But that's still not lethal, because opponent still has the heal, right? So yeah, GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Timelines. So Trundle and Vi. They do have a lot of AoE. Well, actually, that's not true, right? Some of them do play. I like the fact that we have double Pandemonium. Wow. I think I'm gonna take one out. I need to find like a lot of the stuff that like Jagged Taskmaster is really good. Some of them do play Ravine, but for the most part, they're not playing that. Now that's a card I haven't seen anybody play though. Omen Hawk? Omen Hawk, really? I was not expecting that. They're gonna have to Mystic Shot the Teemo eventually. Right? So they're gonna have to Mystic Shot the Teemo eventually or get excited because there's gonna be a lot of damage that's gonna keep adding up over time. We can go ahead and just block here. Technically we don't need to, but I don't want to take that damage. Obviously we had the Twisted Fate that could kill the later. But I don't know if we want to wait that long. We can go ahead and do here. If we had gotten Make It Rain, I would have waited. Yeah, so there's the Mystic Shot that we talked about. If we had gotten the Make It Rain, I probably would have waited. But since we didn't get the Make It Rain, I just went for it, right? Okay. So we can still do Twisted Fate and then Make It Rain the rest. When I get to hit the Shroom. Kind of like the idea. I kind of like the idea. I like the Twisted Fate here. It gets rid of everything, becomes 1 health. Make It Rain can still kill everything. Actually, well, now we don't even Make It Rain. Now we can just Twisted Fate again. Is it Twisted Fate again, or is it actually? Huh. Let's see what we draw. Let's see what we draw first. I'm gonna Make It Rain first. I think I need to draw at this point. So I'm gonna go for the blue card. I guess opponent could go for... Yeah, like something like this could be kind of annoying. I still think I need to draw. I still think I'm in a position where at this point, I just need to draw and go for a big Pandemonium. But I can't go for a big Pandemonium because I don't really have anything here that has that has triggered Plunder. Like this is the stuff that I'm looking for. Very nice. Revna. Everything here is very good. Three Sisters, very nice. Ravna. Gives me more draw. We know that the opponent has very nice now, so makes that Powder Pandemonium turn a little bit more awkward. We could bury icing him right back. Maybe it's very nice. But then the opponent gets the Ravna down and they're gonna outvalue us. So let's go with the Ravna. Let's go with the Ravna so that everything that we draw is gonna become bigger. Although we have a lot more we have a lot more other stuff, right? So unfortunately we don't have like a ton of units. But our unit's not gonna be big enough to combat his Vi, which is gonna be important, and we're gonna be able to match him unit for unit. If opponent wants to go right here, I'm okay with that, because we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna open with Make It Rain. It's gonna get rid of his blocker and allow us to summon the Jagged Butcher, which is gonna trigger the Plunder. So we will have enough here to do Jagged Taskmaster, the Swindle, and the Powder Pandemonium. Now remember, opponent has very nice. I think this is just game now. This is just game, because we can go here. We can even go to Sunny Urchin too, to be honest. Now, we know that the opponent has their own Sunny Urchin. Or do I just want to go to Very Nice this time? Let's go Very Nice this time. Let's go Very Nice this time. We can do the Powder Pandemonium. It's going to summon 5 monkeys. And we can drag everything away from the opponent. Boom. And that should be game. Because now opponent only has 2 mana. Already used double Mystic Shot. We also get to kill his whole board. We go here. And this is lethal. And there we go. We got a little bit lucky. Right? That we got both the Taskmaster and we also got the Swindle to go with our Powder Pandemonium. So that's why I said that the Twisted Fate blue card was going to be so important that turn, and the way I played it, even though the opponent had a Vi right there. So GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Sivir Kaisa. Okay, so Make It Rain is really good. Warning Shot is really good. Double Mark. Okay, I think this whole hand is really good. As soon as I saw the double Marking Merkin, and now we have ways to actually trigger, I think the whole hand is really good. This is really good because you can hit some things, right? I wonder if I'm supposed to go Jagged Butcher though. I think it's Jagged Butcher and force the opponent to block with their 1-drop, right? So the only 1-drop tends to be the Void. So we can do this, Jagged Butcher, and if the opponent doesn't have a blocker, we're pushing 4, and we're still triggering the Black Market Merkin. So now this is looking pretty good for us, right? There we go. We get to push 4 damage right off the bat. At the end of the day, we are kind of like a burn deck, right? So let's just push our 4 damage right here. The downside here is that the opponent has Braum, then I'm putting the Black Market Merkin into the range of the Braum. So maybe we hold back on it. Okay, why? So the only reason he didn't summon that before is because he didn't like the keyword that he saw. So he didn't like any of the keywords that he saw. That seems a little bit weird to me. That seems really weird to me. I'm just going to make it rain right now. I'm just going to make it rain right now. You get rid of 2 blockers, right? You get rid of 2 blockers. And lets me just summon Teemo here. And then we get to push another 6 damage, and opponent is not down to 9 HP. While we have another 3 burn in our hand. The problem here is Kaisa, right? Opponent will have access to... Hey, that's not a Kaisa. That's a good draw, because now we know that the opponent has less chance of getting this. Quick Attack, Spell Shield. And then he had 2 more keywords from the Boylands, so he's at 4. He's a 4 out of 6, so we can go ahead and do the Riptide Sermon. Yeah, 4 out of 6. So we do the Riptide Sermon here, force the opponent to have an answer for this. If they don't have an answer, then that's it. We just completely overwhelmed them. And now we have a pretty big board again for next turn. The downside is that the Kaisa does get Spell Shield, right? What if we just go here? What if we just go here so that we have a bigger open attack? So this is like a... Yeah, because I figured that the opponent was going to have Cataclysm. I could have probably put on the one of the 3/3s, but it doesn't matter because he's always going to Cataclysm the other one. At least this way we still have a pretty wide board. When it has to somehow block all this stuff. Ooh, this is probably better then, right? Because this buffs this up and also buffs Teemo. And also buffs... I forgot that this was a 1-drop now because he got reduced by the Merkin. So this is just game on the spot. If the opponent kills anything, we also have the Powder Monkeys. That will do the last damage. Opponent only has 1 mana. This is already enough. And there we go. So that was a nice draw. That was a nice draw. So, but you can kind of see how much pressure this type of deck can put in. Even against something like Kai'Sa. We got a little bit lucky that he didn't have a way to stop the Sirturmund. But even without it, we were going to put so much pressure that I think we still would have won the game. So GG's. Hey, welcome back everybody. Hope you enjoyed those games. You can kind of see what I mean about what this package can do. It can just burn people out so fast. All of a sudden, you're like a 10 HP, and then next turn, the opponent could be a 0. Because of how much burn damage you have, and how easily you can kind of play around with the opponent has and pull their blockers away. You also saw that sometimes it is so nice to have Swindle, right? Because he lets you know what the opponent has in their hand and lets you play around it. And thinking about the Shen game, we knew 2 key cards that they had in their deck, and in their hand. They had the Spirit's Refuge and they had the Ionian Tailstones. He allowed me to play around the both of them correctly for the whole game. Also giving me one of the copy of it in terms of the Spirit's Refuge, which allowed me to stop that heal from actually killing us. So the deck is really good, gives you a lot of options, but it does lose very, very hard to Shadow Owls and healing, right? If you're running into this deck a lot and you just want to farm this deck, then just play something with Whale, for example, and you just start winning. Because Whale just completely obliterates this deck, pile fees, just any way that you can heal and just stop them from actually getting value. Rabin ends up being really good. It just ends up working out so well for you, So if you want to counter this, just play Shadow Owls. If you want to play, you can play this version or any of the versions out there. Either way, it's really fun. In terms of mulligan, I definitely like Teemo. I like keeping at least 1 warning shot if I know I have a Jagged Butcher as well, or if I have a Black Market Merkin or a Taskmaster. Regardless, I think 1 warning shot is correct because it's very likely for you to draw into one of your cards that require you to trigger that plunder. Teemo is very important. Warning shot is very important. Black Market Merkin is actually pretty good as well, or Taskmaster. I don't mind keeping one of these 2 drops. And then Pokey Stick. If you don't have warning shot or anything like that, maybe you keep the Pokey Stick, but it can be a consideration. The rest you can kick. Sometimes I consider keeping 1 Pandemonium, but I will only keep 1 Pandemonium if I already have like a very good early curve that I know I'll be able to trigger Plunder very easily. Otherwise, you want to see your early units first. So Warning Shot, Jagged Butcher, Market Merkin, Taskmaster, make it rain in certain matchups, and obviously Teemo. So that'd be my suggestion in terms of mulligans for this deck. As always, if you like the content, please make sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post LoR videos every single day. You can also find us on Twitch at Sirturmund, where we stream 3 to 4 times a week. And you can also find us on Discord and Twitter. The links to those are both in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.